A video game villain wants to be a hero and sets out to fulfill his dream, but his conquest brings havoc to the whole arcade where he lives.
Hi, my name is Andre.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Luis.
And we're the Walt podcast. We're a podcast about Disney movies. Welcome to the Walt Vault, episode 4 for the third week in November, or the second week. One of those two. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
The third week.
You guys, we're back again to discuss a Disney movie, and this week's movie is 2012's Wreck-It Ralph.
Woo! Wreck-It Ralph.
I'm excited. I really liked this movie. And
Yeah, this is only the second time I've seen it.
Yeah.
What about you? Second time?
I think it's only the second time I've seen it as well.
Interesting.
So how you guys doing? You doing good? It's been a while since we last recorded. What's been going on since then?
We're laughing because
behind the scenes magic.
Yeah, let's see. Behind the scenes, because this upcoming weekend, which would be what date? I don't know. We're kind of loopy because we're recording 2 episodes in one weekend because we're going out of town.
Yeah.
That's how committed we are.
But the podcasts are going to keep on coming.
So the point is we
coming.
recorded last night.
Yeah.
And then we watched Wreck-It Ralph all together until midnight. And now we're back at it Saturday morning, afternoon, whatever time it is. And now we're doing it again.
Doing it again.
This is the first time we watched a movie together for the podcast.
Yeah, usually we kind of do it as homework. Like Andre and I watch it together, and Emily and Luis watch it together. But we watched it. Well, 3 of us watched it. 1 fell asleep because he's an old man.
One of them is not like the other.
He was tired, but it's okay.
Sleepy Lou.
So what were your first impressions on Wreck-It Ralph, Andre?
Oh, for me? Yeah, I adored this movie. It was great. I wrote at one point in my notes, I never want this movie to end. I just want it to keep going forever and ever.
And is that because there's just so much video game stuff going on?
That's a large part of it.
Because I'm going to put this out here right now. Andre, Luis, and Emily all play video games and grew up playing video games, correct? Kind of. At least more than I did. Yes. I did not play video games growing up at all. Like, period, at all. Not even arcade video games. Only thing I played was Roller Coaster Tycoon on the PC. That's about it. So,
and you know what she did with the people in Roller Coaster Tycoon? She shared this information with us a couple weeks ago. She would pick the people up and put them in the pond?
In the water,
In the water, like in fountains and stuff.
Yeah, it's because they would drown.
And then watch them drown.
Or on Zoo Tycoon, you could like put them in, like they would be taking pictures of the bears or whatever that are in the cages. And I was like, they need to get a better shot. Let me just put them in the cage. It was fun.
I'm just saying, if that's not some serious business, Andre, that you need to...
Is very sadistic. And
Anyways.
Prepare for our future together.
It's all in good fun.
It's all in good fun.
So,
I'm sweating right now.
The point is, whatever. The point is I didn't get a Wii till my senior year of high school. We got it as a Christmas present, and I was just like, what do I do with this? So since I've been dating Andre and we've been living together about a year now, and I watch him play video games and kind of got some more video game knowledge, but the only thing I've actually played with you would be Lego Dimensions.
Right.
So you guys really get all the video game references, and I'm kind of, I'm getting there. I
mean, that's okay.
Leroy Jenkins.
Do you have any idea what that is?
No idea. To? When you guys were talking about that reference from the movie, I was just like,
So Leroy Jenkins, it kind of displays as like graffiti in the movie in the Central Station place, and Leroy Jenkins is from a World of Warcraft video that was on YouTube like years and years ago, probably in like the early 2000s, I think. And it's just a guy who's like screaming and heading into battle, and he's screaming his own name, which is Leroy Jenkins. Skyler.
Why is he screaming his own name?
Well, the funniest part about it is that so they were like gonna go into this raid battle, right? And so like, okay, so think of a normal video game. Like you have a boss, right? And so y'all have to be
Yeah.
real tactical about like going into like fight this boss. Well, all of these people have been talking about this for like apparently like 15 minutes.
Right.
Like they have been strategizing like in game,
They're
like
making a
on
plan.
headsets, like you're doing this, then I'm gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this. And literally, this guy has been AFK. What does that mean? Luis knows it's away from
Away
keyboard.
from
So he's
keyboard.
been away. He's been AFK, and he like literally is not there, not participating in the conversation. They're like, dude, this guy just like left, right? Damn, Leroy. And then all of a sudden, he just like starts moving on the screen. You see the little avatar going nuts, and then he starts screaming Leroy Jenkins and running into
He
battle.
just runs past them and goes
Like
to
they've
fight
been
the boss.
freaking planning for 15 minutes, and
despite
he's
their
just
strategy.
Okay,
and
well,
he's like Leroy J.
This is like one of the first like viral videos ever.
He did it for the Vine.
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
no idea, but okay,
it was funny.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna show her the video.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
We'll do
it's
that
funny.
later.
We'll get there.
Look it up, listeners. So there's a lot of video game references. Luis, you played video games growing up, right?
Yes, I did play a lot of video games growing up. What I love most about this movie is the reference to some of my classic favorites, like Centipede. We actually used to have an actual arcade table for Centipede. It was very, very fun, and I can't even recall how many afternoons I have wasted as a young child playing that game. But my first impressions of the movie were pretty much this is one of the best. Was it Disney? Pixar?
This is a Disney animated movie. It's not Pixar.
Okay,
at all.
okay.
It came out the same year as Brave, which is Pixar, and people kept mixing them up. They thought that Brave was the Disney one and that Wreck-It Ralph was the Pixar
Okay.
one.
So this is by far one of my top 5 favorites for Disney, for sure.
Man, we're getting up there because I feel like you said the past couple of times, the past couple of movies, we're all in
Yeah,
your
you
top
said that
5
about
favorites, so
Pocahontas too.
We're running out of top 5s, Luis. This next one is either going to be top 5 or number 6. I don't know.
Well, it doesn't help when we first started this podcast that we were going to watch some of the top 5 in my list, but
oh, okay.
I'll let you know the rest as they come.
He's
Luis'
gonna
hot
say
picks.
this one was number 14 on my list. Thank you very much.
So I'm gonna, from a non-video game perspective, once you guys get all into that, and I kind of get lost in translation with all the video game Easter eggs and stuff, there was an EDM Easter egg, and I'm dying because EDM stands for electronic dance music. If you didn't know. And that's basically all I listen to. I listen to electronic music and dubstep and techno and trance and all that fun jazz. So when they were having the little house party for the 30th anniversary of the
Fix It
Felix Jr. game, yes, there was a DJ inside the house, and I was like, oh my god, it's Skrillex, because it was
He has
Skrillex.
the Skrillex haircut.
Yeah, and if you guys know me, you know that I'm obsessed with Skrillex. I love Skrillex. I've seen him in concert multiple times. And then, so that was funny enough, but then it went to the Heroes Duty game with the bugs.
Yes.
And the song that was playing during it was definitely a dubstep song. And I was like, you know what? This sounds like Skrillex. And I looked it up, and Skrillex did the song for the movie. So there's my fun Easter egg, and I'm pretty proud of that. And I liked it. I was like the only one
That's the
freaking
one thing
out.
that
I was
she
like,
picked up on
you
when we watched
guys, this sounds like dubstep, and this sounds like a Skrillex song. And I was like, but he was in the movie for like a hot 2 seconds. And then I
It's
looked it up,
definitely a Skrillex song.
and he did the song. And now I'm just going to listen to it all the time. Way to go, Skrillex. Way to be on a top Disney movie.
Thanks for doing Heroes Duty.
If you guys could see the looks on my friends'
Duty.
faces right now, they could care less, but they could care less. But I like it.
No, that's good. I mean, honestly,
Yeah, there was no Mumford and Sons, so I mean, I'm glad Skrillex was there.
Yeah, Skrillex was there for me.
Yeah.
It was all good.
It was all good. So let's talk about the plot of this movie a little bit. I I enjoy the concept of this movie a lot. It's a very interesting concept of, first of all, we're starting out with a villain. He's a bad guy, although he's not a bad guy.
Bad anon.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah, what was the saying for that?
I don't remember the exact words.
I am
it
bad,
was funny.
and that is good. I am not good, and that's not bad.
There's no one I'd rather be
Than
than
me.
me.
Oh, hilarious. I love it.
Yes. It's very inspirational.
So
But
it's
I
like the
did
Bad
recogn-
Guys Anonymous Club, and they
Yeah.
literally sit around and tell their sad stories, which is actually quite funny.
It's hilarious.
The only character I recognized in that circle was Bowser, so I did recognize one character.
Oh, yeah.
And the ghost.
there's
You
a
knew the
bunch of
ghost
guys.
from Pac-Man.
Kind of.
She didn't realize
I
that
did.
just now.
I did.
Oh.
Till you just said that.
Oh.
Oh, that's okay.
Thought he was the Snapchat filter. The ghost.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, awkward.
Ooh, taking it back. Okay.
Luis is dying laughing right now, guys.
I am not laughing. I am merely. My soul is crying
Right.
within.
Guys,
disappointed.
I was not brought up on video games once again.
No.
I know, but it's very interesting that you missed even just like the pop culture, because Pac-Man isn't just a video
That's
game.
straight
He's
pop
a character.
culture.
Yeah, you've seen Pac-Man around. It's him and the ghost.
Yeah.
He's the cherries.
Didn't know there was. Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
I bet that's probably a thing that a lot of people that watch this movie didn't recognize or notice, because all of the
They
video
noticed,
games,
it's just me.
Well, all of the video games that they referenced in this movie are all old games. They're all old. Like now, the characters like Mario and Sonic and Pac-Man, they've all had games that have updated since
Yeah.
those times, but they all originated in like the 80s and stuff like
All
that.
right.
Well, and I think that's one of the really cool things about this is that if you really are a video game person, you're going to go through this and you could probably watch it 5, 10, 15 times and find new
Right.
characters if you're really looking for it. I was looking up some of the characters in the different games that they referenced, and so many of them I don't know. But they have characters from Final Fantasy. They have characters from Zero Wing
Oh,
and
yeah,
from
Zero Wing.
Easy Living and Pauline. They were referencing Pauline from Donkey
Donkey Dong. Donkey Kong.
Kong. Woo! They also talked about all kinds of stuff. Street Fighter. They
Yeah.
talked about Pac-Man and all of the other games that we know and love, like Frogger. And Burger Time and Tapper. So I mean, I don't even know anything about Tapper or Burger.
I read that Tapper was actually like a pretty controversial game, because it's a game where you're a bartender and you're serving like Budweiser beer to patrons that come in, and it was originally meant to be like a video game that's set up in bars, but then it just made its way into arcades and stuff, and like parents started like complaining that their kids were serving beer in this video game or whatever, so they created an alternate version of Tapper called Root Beer Tapper, where he just served root beer instead of
That's actually really cute.
Budweiser.
Well,
So-
one of the characters that I saw there, back and forth kind of between the bar scene and in the Game Central, who I really like, but I liked him from a different movie, is Q*bert.
Q*bert with his little expletive.
With his little, he's cussing all the time. It's just so cute. But I actually remember him from the Pixels movie, which was about, like, the Pac-Man ghost in real life,
Video
pretty
games
much.
come to life. Right.
But Q*bert, man, he was out of commission in this movie. He was like homeless and destitute, and it was real sad.
Right. They did
That was the guy with the long nose.
Yeah.
Yes, the
orange
long
little
orange
bald dude
nose thing.
with a long nose.
Yes.
Yes. Him and a couple of other games were out of commission. Was there like a snake? Was that Snake from Snake?
No, I think that was all the ones that were out of commission. They were all from that Q*bert game.
Oh, okay. I thought they were from different games. Anyway, I want to commend this movie on its just attention to detail, because there's so much going on in the background of almost every single shot. Like, not even just like when you're in the arcade and seeing all the other video games and stuff like that, but even when we get to like the Candy Kingdom and you're just looking around and everything is made out of candy. Like, this is what the inside of Willy Wonka's head must look like all the time.
Oh, for sure.
That entire place, like, everything looks so, and it looks so good. Like, it looks really beautiful. I was I was commending Moana on its beauty a couple weeks ago, and I think that this movie is just as good looking. Do we agree?
I agree.
I totally agree. And this one obviously it is beautiful in a different way, because I know we were talking about how Moana was realistic and how some of the scenes, like, you couldn't tell if you were looking at a real tree or the ocean,
Right.
or animation. Here obviously it's not realistic in like a this could happen in real life kind of way, but like Andre said, the attention to detail. There was multiple times throughout this movie where I was laughing so hard just because of the things that we were seeing. Like, so there's two police officers in the Sugar Rush game, and they're both donuts, which already is funny.
So funny.
Right? Like, they're donuts. And one of them's like a fat round donut, and he has a sprinkle mustache. Like 4 or 5 little sprinkles to make his little like Pedro mustache.
cop mustache.
It's so hilarious. And I was looking it up later, and their names, the cops, they're Winchell and Duncan. Like,
Oh
Dunkin'
my
Donuts.
goodness.
and like Winchell's Donuts. It's like,
That's
stop.
hilarious.
And they have a little police badge, and the badge says to heat and serve. Instead of like to protect and
Oh
serve,
my
it's to heat and
God.
serve.
That's
like,
amazing.
so
like,
funny.
and that was like on a little tiny part of their little tiny badge that I didn't even remember them
Right.
wearing.
like
you
the
never
little
really saw.
attention to details.
It's
yeah.
it's just fantastic that they have that amount of detail. So you really could watch this and find Easter eggs on Easter
Oh,
eggs.
for
and-
sure.
It's like never ending. The world building that they did in this movie is phenomenal. It's awesome.
I was gonna say I kind of noticed that. Just, I mean, you could tell that like the Fix It Felix Jr. world, like everything's pixelated and they move very like like robotical and stuff, and it's all pixelated, I guess is the word.
pixelated, like
And then
8
you go into like the hero's duty, and it's just like all 3D and crazy bugs everywhere.
Yeah.
So I liked the contrast like between.
Oh, yeah, of
The
showing
two
different
games,
styles
yeah,
and
like the different
stuff like that
styles.
of all the games.
Yeah,
and all the
I liked that a
characters.
lot.
And how they all live in this surge protector that connects all of their arcade games. That's really cool.
Yes,
And
so
when
cool.
they get unplugged, you can see the plug leaving the surge protector. That's awesome. It's good stuff.
It is good
This
stuff.
movie's good stuff. Let's talk about Ralph a little bit, if we want. I
love me some Ralph.
when this movie started, I didn't remember how much of like a jerk Ralph was. Like he's the bad guy, right? But he wants to be treated like he's a better person.
Like
But-
he's a hero.
Like he's a hero, but he also has zero tact whatsoever. Like he wrecks he not only wrecks everything like he's supposed to wreck everything, but he just wrecks stuff that he's not supposed to wreck. When they're having the party and he's like looking at the cake and he's like, "Oh, well, what if I'm on top of the cake? And what if what if I have the medal? What if I'm a great guy? What if you guys all love me?" And then he wrecks the cake. Like, what are you doing, Ralph? We want these people to like you.
And
He's so large.
he breaks the doorway. He breaks the glass
He kills
staircase.
Felix.
He killed
Yeah, he
Felix.
did. And
Felix, when he
Felix
walked
is
in.
like, I'm okay, guys.
Right. He's like a very unlikable dude at the beginning, but by the end, he really shows up.
Whoa. Unlikable.
I don't
That's
think-
very
yeah.
harsh.
I liked him.
Well, okay, not unlikable from an audience standpoint, but I understand why all of those Fix It Felix people didn't like him. Because
Okay.
He's,
Yeah.
he's
Okay.
not a good neighbor.
I don't
Okay.
understand why Gene didn't like him. Gene was
Okay,
just
so
a jerk.
so here's the deal. First off, I agree with everything, but like he's kind of just a victim of his circumstance because he
Yeah.
can't help wrecking
That's-
things.
that's
You know,
true.
it's just
they
was
could
the-
be nice to him.
It was the way he was programmed. Then don't let me get started with Gene. Okay, I got a bone to pick with Gene. Okay, Gene could just mind his own business
Gene
and
was-
remain on that first floor getting his apartment wrecked. Okay,
He's an uppity dude.
no.
Doesn't he live in the penthouse?
No. He
No,
lives on the first floor,
penthouse.
okay?
Oh,
he lives in the building.
He lives on the peasant floor.
Gene.
Okay, that's all I got to say about Gene.
Gene
But
the
anyways,
jerk.
going back to Wreck-It Ralph. Now, the entire time when that whole little cake scene,
Mhm.
he wouldn't have wrecked the cake if it wasn't for Gene's, fault. Gene was the one
Right.
who made him wreck
Gene
it.
was antagonizing him.
Oh,
An instigator.
yeah.
Right. He's
Gene.
He's messing everything up for Ralph.
But Fix It Felix, like, kind of feels for him.
Yeah, Felix Felix
at first,
is a good dude.
I like Felix. Like, he's so funny, but I think at the beginning he's like, I really wish you weren't here. You know,
Right.
he's trying to be nice about it, but he really doesn't want him to be there either.
Yeah.
But I do like how kind of throughout the movie you see Felix grow up too, because you see him at first he's like, hi Ralph, and then by the end he's like, come on brother,
Right.
and you're like,
Calls him his
oh,
brother.
Felix is my favorite character in this movie. He's so funny. You're dynamite gal. Like, just the way he talks
All of the idioms
and the
that-
way
that
he
Felix
moves
has.
and his, like, who's the voice actor for him?
you give me the honey glow something awful.
He's hilarious. He's my favorite character in this movie. Close to the girl. What's the girl's name?
Calhoun.
Calhoun.
Oh,
Oh,
Calhoun.
their relationship to die for. That
Well,
whole
Jane
scene.
Lynch anything, I
yeah,
feel like.
that whole scene with the Laffy Taffy and they're in the quicksand.
The nest,
The
nest
yeah.
quicksand.
And just keep punching him in the face to get
So
Laffy
funny.
Taffy to laugh.
So funny.
So genius.
They're my favorite.
That Laffy Taffy is always laughing. That's super funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get really inventive with
Yeah,
all
with the candies.
The candy
Yeah.
stuff. Felix is played by Jack McBrayer, who you may know from the show 30 Rock. He's one
Oh,
of the
okay.
NBC pages, and he's great on that show too. Like that, the way that he talks with like kind of this southern happy dude is like how
So
McBrayer is all
funny.
the time. I think
So funny.
he's fantastic. What else should we talk about, you guys?
Man, let's talk about Jane Lynch.
Jane Lynch as
Calhoun.
Calhoun.
Hilarious.
It was Jane Lynch's Jane Lynch
yeah, let's do it.
in Hero's Duty.
And her hair is like so fabulous.
Oh,
and shiny.
you definitely can tell that it was animated after her
Right.
and fashioned
Yeah,
to be her.
definitely.
And if you've ever watched Glee, I've watched the first couple seasons of the show and I really enjoyed it. She was always my favorite on there, and that's actually how she was in the show. Like,
Right.
pick it up, soldier. I'm gonna like beat you into it tomorrow if you don't do what I need you
rough
to.
and tumble leadership lady
With a machine gun at her wedding. I mean, like, that's pretty
Yes.
legit.
that don't take no scrap from nobody.
I love her. She was hilarious. And her backstory, oh man.
Oh, she got a tragic backstory. She has this super hunky husband.
It's not her fault she's programmed that way.
Oh, it's so sad.
That is eaten by a bug on their wedding day.
A cyborg.
A
So
cybug.
sad.
It is.
Those cybugs are crazy.
Oh
too.
man.
The way that they move is very.
Oh, it was
It's
freaking
creepy
me
looking.
out. Well, you know, it's funny because one of the first times that Luis and I watched this movie once we owned it, which is funny. That shows you how many times we've probably watched it. When we were watching it on DVD, we had to pause it for whatever reason. And when we did, we realized that the screen kept moving. So I was like, Luis, pause it. And he's like, I did pause it. And I'm like, no, Luis, pause it. It's not moving. And long story short, when you pause the DVD, at least the one that we have, it takes you to a new screen, and it is pausing the movie, but it takes you to what they call the gamer's guide, and it goes into a new video pretty much.
Right. So
where-
you guys have the collector's edition Blu-ray. I'm not
Oh.
sure if this is on the regular DVD. or
Oh, maybe we're just
not.
fancy.
It might be super fancy.
But it's cool because when the new video pops up, it's Chris Hardwick from the Talking Dead.
and At Midnight.
And he pretty much explains to you all of the Easter eggs in the movie. He talks to you about all the different things that you should watch out for, and he even like prompts you to pause like that video, go back into the movie, and then pause it again so
Right.
that you can kind of keep
Like
up
find
with his
them
Easter eggs.
yourself. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's super cool
It was
because
very cool.
it keeps you kind of on your toes, and it's a little bit more interactive than just watching a normal movie.
Yeah, it had. I learned a lot just from watching that video, where I probably would have had to watch the movie 5-10 times to notice any of that stuff. There were multiple hidden Mickeys in this movie.
Yes.
Which I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know if I've ever seen a hidden Mickey in any Disney movie that I've watched, and I'm sure there must be some.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, it was really interesting too because if you watch the video, maybe we could put a link to it or something because I'm sure you can find it on
Yeah,
YouTube.
probably.
He says multiple times, well, this is a hidden Mickey, even though hidden Mickeys aren't quote unquote a thing.
Right.
So it sounds like the Disney company will say like, oh, there's no hidden Mickeys in the movie.
We
But
never
then
do
when
hidden
you
Mickeys.
see it, you're like, oh my gosh, that is Mickey Mouse head. Like the dimensions are not incorrect.
Right.
Like it's very.
Intentional.
those are 3 peppermints, and they are a Mickey
They look
head.
like a Mickey. Yeah, I thought that was super cool. I liked that.
Some of
about
the
it.
other Easter eggs that actually he pointed out during that gamer's guide that we thought were pretty interesting was that when you look at the Wreck-It Ralph game where it shows the highest high score ever that's ever been achieved, it was 120,501, and you just think like, oh my gosh, that's just a crazy high number because points were actually 1 point back in the day, not like how we get like 10 points or 20 points for doing something. So someone actually got 120,000 points. But the significance behind that number is that it's actually referring to Walt Disney's birthday, which was 12/05/01, not 01 like 2001, my friend.
Like in 1901. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool that the high score for Wreck-It Ralph was Walt Disney's
Walt's
birthday.
I love when they do stuff like
They
that.
put a lot of goodies in this movie.
Yeah, they did.
It almost makes me wonder, like, are they doing this for all the other movies and we're just not noticing it, or did they pay special attention for this movie to put as much?
I think they do it in a lot of their movies, but more so in this movie.
I think that they could get away with so much here.
Right. They were the ones
Because it's
doing
like
the-
a video
the Easter egg
game
thing.
movie.
But it's funny
Yeah.
that you say that because my next point was going to be that in Frozen, but in the movie Frozen, there's actually a Wreck-It Ralph Easter egg. So when Anna is singing her, for the first time in forever, blah, blah, blah. She's running through the castle. She's super excited. She says she wants to stuff some chocolate in her face. And there's chocolate, like a big old plate full of chocolate there. If you look at it, it's actually the landscape of the Sugar Rush game.
Oh.
So you see, like, the mountains and you see the, like, swirly
That's very
truffles
cool.
and stuff.
Whoa.
So it's actually, like, a precursor, or it's referencing
Yes.
that part in
That
Wreck-It Ralph,
Yes.
which I think is really cool.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Which we also talked about the one in Moana where you see the tapestry with Wreck-It Ralph on it as well
Oh,
at the
yeah,
end of the
that's
movie.
right.
So it's just really cool because you kind of constantly are seeing movies tied into each other other than
all
just...
Yeah.
self-referencing.
Because I always think about Toy Story being like the first Easter
I
egg
Yes,
one.
definitely.
Pixar does that a lot, and it's
Pixar
cool
for
that,
sure.
that the Disney animated movies are doing that.
Kind
a
of
lot
getting
more
on
too.
board with it.
Either that or they're going to like rival out for Easter eggs, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, that's all fine and fun and dandy.
Oh, I noticed something. Okay, so you know how Fix-It Felix Jr., his dad gave him his hammer, right?
Yes.
And Thor's dad kind of gave him his hammer.
Odin passed on Mjolnir, yes.
So what's
correct.
better, Fix-It Felix Jr.'s hammer or Mjolnir?
Oh! We're having
who
a
knows?
showdown right now. Mia versus the Fix-It Felix hammer?
Yes.
This is very interesting. Well, I mean, they're completely opposed hammers, right? Like Mjolnir is meant for destruction and thunder and lightning, but Fix-It Felix's hammer. Man, I can't say his name
Fixes
at all.
everything.
It fixes everything.
I could like break my leg and just be like, boom, leg unbroken.
Here's the deal. We thought Mew Mew, because I can't
Mew
say
Mew.
it.
Mew Mew.
We thought that Mew Mew was unbreakable. And in the new Thor movie, which we still haven't
Oh.
watched,
But in
it
the
broke,
trailer,
y'all. It broke in the
Yeah,
trailer, so
she
this is not a
destroyed
spoiler.
it.
breaking.
So it broke or obliterated or whatever. So I'm going to say that Fix-It Felix's fixing hammer is better than Mew Mew because he could go and tap the remnants of Mew Mew and then he would have Mew
Oh,
Mew.
and then he would have both hammers.
Boom.
Man.
Destruct, repair.
I'm going to
I-
agree with you.
I hope that's
I
how
like Fix-It Felix
Avengers
hammer.
Infinity War starts.
Fix-It Felix
just
Jr.
shows
just
up.
comes. He's like, hey Thor, let me fix this for you.
Wreck-It Ralph 2 is coming out in March, so you never know.
Right.
It
Who
could
knows?
just be like, how you doing, Thor? Thought I would come up and fix your hammer for you. There you go,
Sorry
buddy.
about your hammer.
That'd be hilarious. oh my
Oh
goodness.
man, I love that character, Fix-It Felix. He is awesome, but I would pay big money to see him actually go into the Marvel universe and fix Mjolnir because you kind of need to have
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
I mean,
Mjolnir.
yeah, we'll see how.
Well, once you guys see Thor, let us know what you think about Mjolnir. after.
Classic Thor, though, you kind of need to have
Right.
Mjolnir.
Thor
right
as a
now.
character has always had Mjolnir. Mjolnir.
We love pronouncing that word if you can't tell.
It is one of the best words to pronounce in the Marvel world. That's for sure.
Mjolnir. It's that J that's in there.
Yes.
That really throws us all off. So yeah, Fix It Felix Jr. Man, I wonder if that's done on purpose too, to just try and tongue tie all of us with his name.
Now, very interesting that you kind of brought that comparison between Thor's hammer and Fix It Felix's hammer. Apart from the fact that one can pretty much obliterate a, full-grown bear, and the other one could barely harm a fly. I'm just talking about the size of the head of the hammers.
Oh, okay.
So, but here's my question to you guys. In a who would win competition, okay?
Battle.
Or yes, a battle of who would win.
Gotta get
So this is what I got for you guys.
Yeah, we need to get like a theme song for
the battle.
for Luis's segment on the podcast.
It's going to be one of those like epic versus battle of podcasting.
Thank you, Emily.
I'm going to go with Michelle has no idea what that's from.
Oh.
You're correct.
Okay, another
Continue,
thing we need
Luis.
to add to the
Continue.
list, have Michelle look at epic rap battles of history.
They're gonna have me do a bunch of things after this.
So, here's my question to you, our podcast faithful. Who's more likely to lose their marbles? King Candy or the Mad Hatter?
Oh.
So
I don't
I read
know.
this earlier that King Candy, his voice was modeled after the Mad Hatter's, like his voice and
Oh,
mannerisms.
interesting.
So that's I assume that's kind of why
They're both crazy.
We all kind of think of them the same way, but they both kind of like, let's talk like this voice.
Yeah.
But King Candy was voiced by Alan Tudyk. So who's like more
Who would
likely
lose
to
their
lose
marbles?
their marbles?
Like who would go to the loony bin first?
I mean, kind of, I think about it in terms of you knew the Mad Hatter was mad from the get-go.
Right.
But then if you take a
It's in
look
his
at Wreck-It Ralph and then the scenes where King Candy's involved, sometimes he's talking to Ralph, and when he's not getting it, or Penelope wasn't getting it, Vanellope wasn't getting it, you could tell in his voice where he's like, oh, right, this is the way it has to be. And then all of a sudden, he hears something he doesn't like. He's like, oh, no, but it has to be this way.
Right, yes.
It almost sounds as
Yeah.
if he's about 2 seconds short of just like, losing his head
He's on
and going
the-
crazy.
He's on the edge. So I mean, in that case, I guess the Mad Hatter wins just because he's already crazy, whereas the King Candy he's always trying to keep his crazy a little bit at bay. He doesn't want to tip all the way over into crazy.
Yeah.
I like it though because King Candy I don't know if he's crazy though. I think that he lost his marbles already.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
lost them and now he's
'Cause he
trying
went turbo.
Yeah, he went turbo. And now he's trying to keep them together. I don't know. This is a good one.
This is a hard one,
That's
Luis.
kind of like one of my favorite parts about this movie is King Candy, his journey of
His character development.
his character development of being turbo in his own game, jumping into another game and ruining that game, and then jumping into this Sugar Rush game and completely taking it over because he learned from ruining those other two games.
Which is really good for him. I mean, he's
Yeah.
learning from his
Right.
mistakes, so he really isn't crazy, right?
Well,
He hasn't
He's
like
crazy.
he's not epitomizing the
when
definition.
he turns
That's
into
true.
that like weird thing at the end where he's like part bug, part King Candy, part turbo, and he's like,
Oh, that's nasty.
So I think
can't
he
even
lost
watch
his
it.
marbles right there. But
Okay.
I'm gonna say, okay, I think the Mad Hatter wins this battle for me because he's just crazy, right? He's crazy, and also I can't think of King Candy the same anymore because I read what his body is like based off of, and I can't stop thinking about it. So his head
What?
is very round, and he has this very tall collar that's kind of like ruffled like this. And I was reading, so he's based off of a candy. He's a bonbon. So his head
What?
is like a round bonbon, and his collar is like the the paper that the bonbon sits in. So now all I want to do is poke his head, and it's gonna like go like a bonbon. So I don't know. Maybe he is crazy.
It's funny that you say that because I was thinking about what candy each person's like outfit was the entire movie. Like, oh my god, look, that's like a Reese's peanut butter cup wrapper or whatever. So yeah, no.
So to me,
Definitely
he just
is a
seems
bonbon
so
now that you say
silly and just kind of like evil silly. Then I think that the Mad Hatter for sure still loses his marbles before King Candy does.
Okay.
Yeah. Mad Hatter loses his marbles first, but I'm thinking about it now, and King Candy, when he loses his marbles, it's a bigger mess.
That's true.
He goes crazy, and he goes crazy hardcore.
It's because he's a bonbon.
And he becomes like super evil.
He bonbon everywhere.
Scary bonbon evil guy.
Yeah.
Bonbon.
Bonbon.
I'm serious. Look at a picture of King Candy and think of a bonbon now, and you're like, what the? It's funny.
Okay, so
we got 2 votes for Mad Hatter.
2 votes for Mad Hatter, 1 for King Candy. I'm gonna have to agree with your point, Andre, that Mad Hatter is already kind of nuts, but maybe it's just his personality.
Right.
It's one of those things like you already know how I am. Why do you invite me?
Yeah.
Kind of
He
situations.
just puts like mustard in his tea. It's like,
Yeah,
a harmful.
What's wrong with mustard?
Crazy.
But throughout the entire movie, like I said, there was specific scenes where he was normal. King Candy was normal, but then he came to that point where something irked him, and that was just like, oh. He's gonna go. He's gonna. No, he didn't go crazy. But at the end, he pretty much does go berserk.
Yeah,
on
that
a
whole
nother
scene
level.
where I'm telling you, where he saw like crazy bug turbo King Candy thing. That's scary. It's freaky.
That's most definitely why his henchman was Sour Bill. Right?
Oh,
like
Sour
Sour
Bill.
Bill is like the dude. Is he the dude from Clear Eyes? Is that who plays him?
He's actually played by the director of this movie,
Oh.
Rich Moore.
Well, there you go. But literally,
I love
he's
Sour
this
Bill.
character, and he's literally like a sour ball, and he has no emotion, and that makes sense as to why King Candy would have him as not a henchman, but like his servant. Because can you imagine if he had like Wiggins from Pocahontas as his servant?
Oh,
he would be
God.
losing it
Right.
every 5
He wouldn't be able to
seconds.
handle it. He would have had to
That's
execute
hilarious.
Wiggins or something.
Sour Bill is my second favorite character in this movie. He was so funny.
Hashtag justice for Sour Bill.
Yeah, poor Sour Bill got stuck to a lollipop. Poor Sour Bill.
He was sour.
And then it was stuck on him later
Oh.
when he came back again too. It's just
Attention to detail.
That's
great.
hilarious.
I was kind of scared, in this movie. So it shows like towards the end, at the climax, Vanellope is like winning her race, and King Candy is like seemingly destroyed by the end of the race or whatever. And I was like, oh wow, that was kind of anticlimactic for King Candy. And then I didn't remember when he came out, got eaten by a huge bug dude, and became the sour bug King Candy monster turbo guy. And I thought that was a cool reveal.
Yeah, because the bugs become what they eat, and it ate King Candy,
Right.
so crazy.
And he's all kinds of glitchy and powerful.
I thought you were going to say he's all kinds of ugly because
He was all
too.
kinds of
Yeah.
ugly.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Vanellope, since we haven't gotten on that
Yeah, we
topic
haven't
of her
mentioned
yet.
her.
Her backstory is so sad. That whole
my
scene where
God.
she like goes into the Diet Coke mountain with the Mentos, and she's just like wrapping herself in garbage, and she's
Like a little
sleeping in
homeless lady.
she's sleeping in a sponge cake. Oh
so
man,
sad.
Vanellope is so cute.
I don't know why I never got around to my first impression of this movie, but I wrote tearjerker, which I laughed at myself for writing tearjerker because I'm
'Cause
pretty
you
sure I
made
made fun of you
us.
guys.
Which
multiple
she did
times.
cry at the end of this movie, by the way.
I was like real close to crying. I
Tears.
want to say I actually cried. out
She
loud.
did.
Is my baby was being cute? Okay, I was like, oh,
Whatever.
proud mom. Whatever. Nobody asked you guys, but seriously, like when she was rolling around in a little sponge cake, and oh my gosh, it was so
Candy
sad. Like
wrappers.
you just wanted to take her home.
Yeah, I know.
and-
Now, when I think my life is bad, I'm going to be like, girl, you didn't have it as bad as Vanellope. She couldn't even leave her own game. She was just going to die in there as a glitch. She lived in a bunch of candy wrappers.
The part that was the worst for me though was when Ralph, he had to. I totally
When he was
understand why, but
destroying
he
her
destroyed her
Oh
cart
my
that
God.
they baked together. And you think to yourself, like, it's a candy cart. She could make another one. No, like
It was
They had to go
He-
through mini
yeah.
games to make that card.
he hilarious.
Super
mini
cute
games.
mini game.
He literally wrecked it, and she was like, "You're a bad guy. And, oh my God. You
Yeah.
could just see
It
her
was
heart
hard.
breaking.
We were all watching it together, and I'm pretty sure we all
We all were like,
"No,
oh.
no."
I was like, he's going to wreck the car. No, he wrecked the car.
That was so difficult on so many levels. You see
Heart-wrenching.
both of their hearts just being broken along with that Cracker Jack car. It was bad.
And when they were like, when the other little Avatar girls were like beating up her little makeshift car at the beginning too, I was like, man, it's a bunch of bullies. Y'all a bunch of bullies. Poor
That's
Vanilla
right.
Pete.
But
She
here's-
got a car ruined twice in this movie. Thanks, Ralph.
well, she should have got Liberty Mutual. Would have solved that entire situation had she had insurance.
Ha ha. Funny.
Allstate.
I was going to say something. I have nothing.
Uh,
He wanted like better car replacement or something.
oh man, but I really like their relationship. It's very he's very much a father figure to her at the end, and he really wants to get her out and all that stuff, and he makes sure she crosses the finish line.
Oh, it's
and
too cute.
It was precious.
I want to say one of my favorite moments of the movie, which it's only because it really does show like what kind of little person she is. You know, she's so freaking spunky, and the little things that come out of her mouth, you're like, oh my God, like how do you even know to say that?
Stink
Right.
brain.
Oh, stink brain. Oh, they're good, right? Right at the end, she turns back into Princess Vanellope, and Taffeta Mutton Fudge, or whatever her name
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, taffeta button fudge.
She runs up and she's like, "Oh my God, Princess, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't know." But she really
Me
didn't.
too.
Like their
Their
memories
memories
were
were
locked
erased,
up
yeah.
and blah blah blah. But they were so mean to her. And then she's like, "Don't take it out on us." And she's like, "Oh, that's okay. So what's gonna happen to all the people that were mean to me? They're gonna be executed."
And they're all like,
They start crying, and Taffeta's like mascara is running, and she can't see, and she's like, "I'm just kidding, stop crying." She's like, "I can't make it stop." It's just,
It's
so
hilarious,
funny
yeah.
because you can just see.
she's a spunky girl.
Oh, you
Right.
could just see that she's just ready to
Yeah.
kick butt, even though she's supposed to be sweet.
She
She's still
embraced
sour.
her glitchiness.
Oh,
It's
it's
hilarious.
fantastic.
Taffeta, by the way, fun fact, Taffeta Mutton Fudge was voiced by Mindy Kaling, who you might know as Kelly from The Office. She also voiced Disgust in Inside Out.
Mhm.
Disgust, everyone. This
You
is a
love
good.
Disgust.
Oh, thank you
Yeah.
for bringing up Disgust, everyone.
Oh.
So one of the things, if you've been on our Instagram or any of our websites or anything, you'll know or you'll have seen that 1 year, it was last year, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Like
this, not this, like Halloween is this year. 2016 Halloween.
It feels like 17 years ago, but we dressed up as the characters from Inside Out,
Each of
and
us.
we kind of did
Like
like did a Disney bound it
yeah.
because
Right.
it wasn't like costumes, but we wore them to the Mickey's Halloween party, and they were hilarious.
It was great.
Mhm.
The best part about it was, so me and Michelle, we wore dresses from the Hawaiian pizza.
Some
factory.
Etsy thing.
Yes, it's from, they're on Etsy, and they did make really
Yes,
cute dresses.
very cute dresses.
So it was like a skater dress, but Luis and Andre literally pulled stuff out of their closets.
Uh-huh.
And that's what makes that extra funny, because Luis was anger, and he wore literally what he wears to work.
A shirt and tie.
Yep,
A shirt and tie.
shirt and tie.
And like little pens in his pocket.
Yeah.
And Andre wore like a vest.
Yeah, I wore a sweater vest and over
Like
a shirt that I also wear to work.
Yep.
A purple
And,
shirt.
and they perfectly were, you know,
Anger and fear.
respectively.
Yes, please go to our
And you were
Instagram
disgust, and
look at
I
that
was
picture
joy,
of us.
and we left sadness at home because nobody likes sadness.
Right? It was really a beautiful thing. But one of the best parts of the whole experience was that we were going to Disneyland. We left the hotel. We were ready. We took the tram. People thought we were so cute and everything. We were getting our faces ready, right? Like Luis was acting angry and I was acting disgusted, and Andre was crying or fearsome
I
or
was
whatever.
very scared.
Michelle was just
crying.
happy. We go through security, and Luis is the only one who gets stopped to get patted down. And just as he was saying the other day about how he likes, security because
Like,
Yeah.
he
security
likes
at
to
Disneyland.
be
Make sure everybody's
safe at
safe.
Disneyland. He's like, why am I the only one who's getting stopped? But it was funny because he was dressed as anger, so I think people thought he was being funny. But I was like, no, he's really asking, like,
He's
why is he
really
getting
mad.
stopped?
I remember that, yeah.
That is not true. That was my favorite part of Disneyland.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I was
Security line.
very in character that I wanted to go ahead and display my frustration, quote unquote, of being checked. But actually, like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, that is my favorite part of Disneyland, going through the security check line.
Keep telling
so
yourself
that was a lie.
You're funny.
I like how he was giving air quotes on a podcast. There you go, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Air quote.
I'm glad they didn't-
quotes.
I'm glad they didn't choose to pat me down. I don't know if I would have stayed in character. I might have jumped into a little bit of anger
That's funny.
rather than fear.
And they were patting him down hard too. It wasn't
Yeah.
just like one of. It was like a TSA pat down. Like, excuse me, sir,
What you got?
you cannot be bringing that pocket protector in here.
Yeah.
Anger.
So as we were watching the movie last night, we were like, you know what? When we go for Halloween next year, which we're going to try to go to again because it's so fun, like
So
we're going to
fun.
be Wreck-It Ralph characters.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Like Luis is going to be Fix It Felix Jr.
Yes.
And I am going to be Wreck-It Ralph.
I don't
'Cause
know.
Wreck It.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
no, I'm on a Wreck It. That was
Sure.
pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I think Michelle should be.
I think I want to be Taffeta Fudge. I'm just going to walk around and be like, meh. And then I'm going to be talking so sassy like, that's because I'm the best.
I'm not
I
sure
don't
if I
know.
want to be King Candy or if I should do like a male version of Vanellope von Schweetz.
What about Addie? Should
Addie has to be Vanellope. She got
yeah.
the hair for that,
That's
man.
true.
My child has a lot of hair.
All right, I guess
Yeah.
the baby could be Vanellope.
Because
Fine.
Tommy
Or you
would
can be
cute.
Sour Bill and just wear all green and be like, meh.
But like, hold on, we need to go back to the baby because it's all about the baby. We are gonna like make her stroller into a cart.
Oh.
Right? Like throw some cardboard on either side and like paint it all crappy.
Yeah, make it
Gummy
That would
worm
be cute.
wheels.
All right.
Yeah,
Gummy worm
yeah,
wheels.
super duper cute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna
Andre,
be.
you want to be Sour Bill? That would be hilarious.
That would be, that
Could
would
be
pretty
Taffeta and Sour Bill. That'd be funny because they're like opposite. You're gonna be like, I'm Sour Bill, and I'm gonna be like, I'm Taffeta Mutton Fudge.
She's just gonna be mean to me all day,
Yeah, it'd be great,
and I'll be sour right back.
hilarious.
It's gonna be fun.
I can't wait for that. I am going to have a blast. But my question is, do you think Disneyland will allow us to take in like cardboard, like cutouts and all that stuff?
Yeah.
or-
I feel like if it's
Yeah.
on the baby stroller, it'll be fine.
You
'Cause
know,
It's not like it's us.
they would.
I was thinking of those little weird cars where you can push them around in. We could probably buy one of those and kind of like take the color off and then paint it, and that'd be a little bit
That'd be fun too.
easier, and it would be fun to do.
You know
that.
what? You could be Gene, Luis.
Dang, that was a burn.
He wears the same thing as Anger, basically.
How dare you?
Fun.
Nobody asked you, Michelle.
This one has to be Gene. He's funny.
I wish Gene was never even in the movie.
Bye,
With
Gene.
a little martini glass. Luis really took his time to say that too. He was giving Michelle the death stare.
This is the relationship me and Lou have.
Anger
It's
being
great.
brought back out.
Oh, I know. He's even in a red shirt. Well, he's red fur. And you have some
But
funky
anyways,
hair.
look out for our bomb.com Halloween costumes next year.
Yeah.
In literally a full year
In
from now.
1 year from now, come hang out.
I'll have to learn more video game knowledge by then. We'll
Yeah, I
see.
guess. You'll have to
See
the
how
second
great
She
I
could
do.
be Leroy Jenkins.
I could, sure. I'm just gonna be running around the park yelling that I'm gonna get kicked out.
No, actually, I bet you they would
That'd
think
be
that was
funny.
really. She could be Cuber.
Oh, do I want to be Cuber?
Is that how he talks? No, you need to be Sour Bill. That's funny.
Okay.
So I want to talk about one more scene in the movie that I absolutely loved, which is the ending scene. So they've kind of accepted Ralph back, and they like him now, and they made him his own cake, and they're playing the game,
He
and
built a little house. for himself.
Vanellope's all playing her game, and she's ruling her candy world. And then he says that the best part of playing his game is when they throw him off the roof at the end, which he hated before. He hated getting thrown off the roof, because when they lift him up, he can see over to the other game and see Vanellope doing her little glitchy thing and being all awesome.
Watching all the kids love her.
And
as
that
she
was when
plays.
Emily cried.
Boom.
Well, that's when Emily got thrown under the bus. So okay.
But
Okay, Luis, now I know how it feels
But
when
that
I do it to
scene-
you.
that scene is
Oh,
amazing.
God, it's
It's
so
like the,
cute.
I mean, obviously it's like the epitome of the movie. It's like the
Right.
ending and blah, blah, blah. But that scene's great.
And if that little kid likes me, I can't be that bad. So cute.
That was great. I didn't notice this until like almost the very end of the movie, but the person who's playing all these video games like in the arcade is like a little girl, which is like pretty important because like there's a lot of stuff in video game culture where like, oh, girls don't play video games, only fake girls play video games to get male attention and stuff like that. And it's really nice to see like a little girl
That's true.
enjoying all of these video games that are intercrossing with each other and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
That's
she
a nice
definitely
little
was
thing,
playing
too.
all the different games. Like you saw her first at Hero's Duty.
Mm-hmm. And she
No,
was like,
I
"Oh, this
lie.
is
You
weird."
saw her first
She
trying
was at
to
Wreck-It
play
Ralph,
Wreck-It.
and
Well,
then Wreck-It Ralph went out of
No, she was playing.
she was trying to play Fix It Felix Jr.
Oh, right.
Ralph wasn't there. She goes over and she plays
Hero's Duty.
Hero's Duty, where Ralph like starts like interfering with the first person shooter,
Right.
and he's trying to like get it to stop, and ooh, Calhoun like busts him a new one. Oh, it's fantastic.
It's a great.
Very good movie. What does this movie have on Rotten Tomatoes?
That's a good question that I believe I have the answer to.
Rotten
it has
Tomatoes.
an 86%.
Oh,
on
okay.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Pretty good. So what? Moana
Quite
was
good.
96, right?
Moana
Only
had, I
at-
think, like a 93. Or maybe a 97.
I think it was 96. Like a 10%. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great movie.
Better than hers.
You think it's better than 86?
But it is, it was very good. It was
It was a very
Yeah.
good movie.
Is it time to give our ratings?
It is. Luis, what would you give this movie?
Oh, easily, I would give it a 9.
9.
9 out of
9
10.
for sure. Well, like I mentioned, I've already mentioned it earlier. This is one of my top 5. Where pretty much there's only 3 spots left, and that goes it goes a long way because what I loved most about this movie was that Wreck-It Ralph was not a bad guy.
Right.
And his entire journey, it's not necessarily that he wants to win a medal, it's just he wants to be liked.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, it's like he wanted to be liked by everybody, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the movie, he only cared if one person liked him, and that was, the little girl.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And the actor who plays him, oh man, the guy's hilarious. John C. Reilly. So that kind of helped the cause as well.
Right.
And Sarah Silverman as Vanellope.
She
Oh,
did an
she's
excellent
amazing.
Vanellope.
I feel like this might have been like one of her first big movie roles.
Yeah, they were saying
She's
too
one
when
of my
they
favorite comedians.
recorded this movie. Usually when they do animation, they're kind of in a room by themselves and they're reading their own parts. But they a lot of the scenes they recorded in a room together, and they kind of did like some improv with them and everything.
Yeah.
So I think that's why their relationship was probably so good on screen too between them.
Screen chemistry.
What do you give this movie, Emily?
I'd probably give it a 9 as well. I think that I'm only not giving it a 10 because I feel like the perfect movie's not out there.
Right.
Right? Like I don't think that there is a perfect movie, but to me, there were no problems with this movie. I will say that when I watched the trailers for this movie and it was coming out, I thought it was going to go in a completely different direction that it actually went into. And I think that's because they were really trying to promote it in a specific way to get the most, viewership and everything. But
audience.
when they got into Sugar Rush, the candy game, I was like, oh my gosh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. But I liked it because especially at that point in time, Candy Crush was like
Super
the
big.
biggest thing in the entire world.
Yeah.
And it's so reminiscent of that game, even though it's not a racing game. It's
Right.
just the background and the sounds and the way that
Candy.
Yeah, didn't you say it was like Candy Crush and Mario Kart mixed together?
Oh, yeah. That's at least what I thought of when
Right.
I was watching it. So it was really interesting to kind of see that unfold because that's not what I was expecting, and I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I've watched this movie multiple times, and every time find something new that I really enjoy and can laugh at, so that makes me happy. And they're not pity laughs.
Not pity laughs. All right.
Michelle?
I should rate
Okay.
things based on how many
So-
pity laughs I give it.
Coming from a person who doesn't play video games or didn't really understand any of those references that you guys were like, ha, this is great. Look at all these video game things. I still thoroughly enjoyed the movie because the storyline was very good, and it it appealed to people who don't necessarily watch video games. It wasn't like a very... If you don't understand video games, you're not going to understand the movie.
I think you could have taken like 99% of them out, and it would have still been
a good movie.
It just made it that much more kind of
better for you guys. Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for that reason. And also, Andre made this comment, and I kind of feel like that's high because a lot of times we talked about this in Pocahontas, like the music made the movie, but this was not there wasn't any songs per se, like they weren't singing characters, and I'm still giving it an 8, like, and then you guys gave it a 9, like that's really good.
Yeah, I think it's because they had some really good dynamic game music, like the music inside of the games were really good.
Yes, that's true.
So I think that held on its own. And as Michelle, I'm sure will point out, if I don't, the ending credits song.
When can we do this again? I love
that song, which is like the theme of the Paint the Night Parade, which is my favorite for
Come
sure.
back already.
Even sensational, but they're both. They're so freaking good. That song is so catchy and so fabulous, and most people don't even know it came from Wreck-It Ralph.
Right.
I don't think I necessarily did at the beginning either.
I definitely didn't.
But it's so good. It's so good, and
so
I think that almost makes up for it for me, that there was no like major song music.
Yeah, I don't usually like credit songs, so way to go.
As we
that
talked
Owl
about last
City.
week. And it was not an R&B song, Andre.
It was an Owl City song. What's your rating, Andre?
I absolutely adored this movie. I don't know what happened between the first time me watching it and last night when we watched it, because I loved it, and I'm ready and willing to watch it like a million more times. It's super duper fun.
You want to watch it right now?
I mean, we could if that's on the table, then sure.
Luis just looked at me and said,
Yeah, I really would be down to watch the whole thing this time because,
he
fell
sorry. Asleep.
Yes,
He fell asleep, yeah. He's an old man.
Yes.
He's an old man, yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Michelle, for
You're welcome.
taking the words right out of my mouth. I am not an old man. I am just old at heart.
Man. Oh, okay.
Well, you know what? Technically, I'm not middle-aged yet. I'm probably like a quarter-age man in terms of years lived, but in my heart, I am old. So, but thanks again, Michelle, for illustrating that very vividly. Appreciate it.
So yes, I can watch it again.
Luis is Nick Miller
right now. I think I think I'm gonna give this movie a 9 as well. I loved it. I think it's a wild ride the entire way through. Like, there's no boring parts. It's super funny. Like, it has a lot of laughs per minute. Like, there's a bunch of stuff going on. I love all of the background Easter eggs and stuff like that. And I love all of the characters, like especially like Vanellope and Ralph and Felix. They're all super duper fun.
Question for you. Was there any characters in this movie that annoyed you? Because I will say that the first thing that happens to Luis, I swear he's looking for it when we watch movies, is like the first person who annoys him, and then he won't shut up about how much it annoys him.
Like Olaf.
He fixes like Olaf. Oh my God, I hate Olaf. It's like the movie's not about Olaf, even though it kind of is. Oh God.
Gene.
Oh, sorry.
I cannot stand Gene.
I forgot. He
so
hated Gene.
yes, she's right in the sense that I don't look for them. They're
don't
just
hate
that
him because you ain't him.
They're just annoying. Okay. No. This isn't going back to play yard times where you say no. I do not. No, I would very much rather see paint dry. Okay, then be Gene. All right, straight up.
Right, Gene.
Luis.
But ironically enough, Emily did kind of point out made me realize something, to be exact, that I do kind of find characters that just tick me off. But maybe there just has to be characters that tick people off in a movie.
That might just be your thing.
Yeah.
Because I love Olaf, you're crazy.
Yeah, I didn't find anyone in this movie super annoying.
Oh yeah, this
I even thought Gene was like necessary because he really was that antagonist.
He was a good juxtaposition.
Ralph to get out of his own comfort zone and go find a medal.
Oh, I thought you were saying he was pushing him out to get out of his house, because that was really the problem.
Oh yeah, he was living in the dumps.
But my point in all that, in asking that question, is, to me, there was not anyone or any character that could have been removed and it still hold the same umph. Like every edition, really, to me at least, held some really good weight in this movie.
I think we could have done without Jane.
Oh my God. Okay.
Aye.
Bye, Gene.
So,
yeah, high scores for this movie.
yeah, we did get pretty high scores. Before we sign off, I got a fun thing.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've noticed, but I kind of tend to sing dialogue, like sing things that I should be talking instead.
Sure.
And we like to make up songs for things. So fun fact, my favorite show that I'm still super obsessed with at Disneyland currently is Mickey and the Magical Map. And if you don't like Mickey and the Magical Map, something is wrong with you. But it was hard for us to remember the theme song to it because we hadn't seen it in a while.
Like we never can remember the song.
We can never remember the theme song. So then we were waiting in line for it, and Emily and myself and Andre, and we were like, Mickey and his magical map. He's got a map that's magical. So Disney, if you're listening, that's the actual theme song.
And literally
that's the other thing.
That has literally become the theme of our life. Like I told Andre,
we sing it all the time.
I told Andre, if you could make the Walt's song to
Mickey
be like
Mickey and the Magical Map.
Walt in his magical vault. He's got a vault that's magical.
There's lots of movies inside.
Let's watch some movies. And that just turned us into like Phantom of the Opera.
So
that's also broody. So.
Poor Luis has to put up with us. Okay.
He sings it.
Yeah.
He
likes
it.
Mickey. And
He
the
sings
Magical
it.
Map.
Louis, will you sing
He's
it for our
shaking his
listeners?
head, but he loves it. He loves it on
Sing it for the viewers, as you say,
the
that
viewers.
listen.
All
Sing
your
for the
viewers out there.
viewers.
Mickey and the Magical Map. He's got a map that's magical.
Bow, 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 bow.
Bow, bow, bow,
Yay!
He rolled his eyes the entire.
All right.
Amazing.
Where can our fans
All
find
right,
us, Andre?
So if you guys love that song, please please give us a rating on iTunes.
Soon to be the #1 trending song on
That's right.
Disney
Mickey and
iTunes
the Magical
Radio.
Map, yes. Leave a comment if you love the song. Leave a comment if you didn't like the song. I don't know why you would, but leave a comment on the website or on an Instagram post or any place that we are. We're out there. We're everywhere. I want you guys to leave us a review. And
Next week, we are going to be watching for our movie, The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, that's right.
Yay.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm so
forgot to announce the
excited.
movie.
And why are we going to be watching Nightmare Before Christmas, Michelle?
Because it's halfway. It's going to be Thanksgiving weekend, which is halfway between Halloween and Christmas. And it's a both season movie.
Boom, boom.
boom.
It's an all season movie.
Duel.
We get Haunted Mansion Holiday for 3 months. You can watch this movie for 3 months.
Yeah, if Disneyland says it's Christmas, then I say it's Christmas. Boom.
Oh, we're going to throw some Tim Burton coolness at you guys next
And some
week.
tinsel.
That's right.
And some tinsel.
All the tinsel. So
Tinsel.
stay tuned for Nightmare
Tinsel.
Before Christmas next week.
Tinsel.
Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe. Tell your friends about the Walt Vault. We would love that to happen.
Little tinsel.
You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, TuneIn, all over the internet. Any of your podcast apps that you want to use. You can follow us on. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram.
Tinsel is shining.
At the Walt Vault Pod. We're also on Facebook. You can go to our website, which is thewaltvaultpod.com. Hey, send us an email at contact@thewaltvaultpod.com, and maybe we'll read your email on the air. You guys, the vault is now closed.
Wait. Blooper coming at you. Bloopers coming at you.
Doobie doobie doo ba doobie doobie
We didn't even
doo
have any
ba
coffee today.
Perry.
No coffee, just sugar. Bow.
Hashtag always
Snacking.
snacking.